Hey guys, how's it going? So I've had a bit of an epiphany that because I want to be making the series that is the like the taking a look at thing, where I take a look at all the servants, I talk about them, I talk about if I think they're cool or not, doing all that fun stuff. And I'm like, hey, yeah, no, this one's cool. I like this one. And so I've decided what I'm going to do right now, and then something I'm going to continue to add on to from here on out is we are going to be ranking every character that has been released on FGO this year on JP based solely on how good I think that they are for the game. This is entirely based on exclusively my own opinions, right? On whether I think that the character is a good character for the game, whether I think that they're good for gameplay, whether I think they're good for lore, whether I think they're good for anything, or if they're just kind of another run-of-the-mill character that's just kind of showed up and you're like, alright. Know what I mean? Is this going to be full-on gameplay? Gameplay, boo? No, not quite, because my own emotions and feelings towards things are going to play into this. But, you know, it's kind of nice to, like, just review and take a step back and look at some of these characters and be like, aight. We've received 19 confirmed characters for 2024 as of the recording of this video. And I would say probably over half of, no, a third of them are revolutionary in a lot of different ways. And so I kind of just want to like take a look at them. I just want to do a year in review and just review who do I think is like the good shit of this year so far. And then with every subsequent servant that's added, we will add them to the list. And then at the very end of the year, we can go back, see how we looked at things throughout the entire year, and then compare them, maybe shuffle them around, and then change things as we see fit. Cool? All right. Is this going to be strictly based on meta? No. So, you know, we're just going to be just making a list on how cool I think the servants are that came out this year. Simple as. I'll give some justifications and, you know, make them rock. Let's do this. Turning my fan back on is too hot. So we're going to start with, we're going to start with one of my favorite servants that dropped this year. Just right off the bat. Number 402, Takeru. Weber, if you will. Funny rice eating they. Persona, even. Weber is an AoE art saber who I love them in Samurai Remnant. Weber's really fun in Samurai Remnant. The Muramasa killer, kind of in some ways, yeah. Does a lot of damage, fucks up a lot of people. His kit is really weird. He's got the 30% charge. Oh, that's right, I muted Tammy.
This is not a democracy. He is a man of the person and the person is him.
That is true. This skill has always been kind of weird. It's just you mostly just use it for this, the 30% NP. And then when an ally dies around him, he gets more NP gauge. I thought that this was a really fun idea. And then they kind of just didn't. I've not ever had to use this. There's definitely ways that you can set it up, which I like, but I've never actually used this part of this skill. Wait, Takeru is like Daeon? No. Takeru is gender unconfirmed. And to everybody who says Takeru's a male, he has a wife. Uh-huh. Right. That's stopped people throughout history from getting married. Yeah, Artoria has a wife. That's a good point. Yeah, no. You see, the difference is people will suck Artoria's magical cock to hell and back because it's Artoria, and they'll make they'll go through all the loops and shit to justify why Artoria can have a wife, but they won't do that for Takeru because it's not Artoria. You know what I mean? Anyway, second skill. Crit damage, demonic and divinity, damage up, 6-turn cooldown. Again, it's in hindsight, it's not a great skill. It's good for certain content, but not the content you normally bring him for. Them for. And then Mana Burst Water is just an arts up, NP damage up. This gives you your 50% battery. And then your NP is that you shoot a big water gun. It only affects one enemy, and it kind of fucks them up a bit, and then it's AoE. It's good. Is it this? I need to pull out this stuff. Alright, Takeru. I love Takeru design-wise. I think, like, from an art design-wise, in terms of gameplay, I think that they're workable. Takeru, one of my favorite characters, just kind of solid. They're decent. They make the cut. NP AoE with a single target effect. What the fuck? So he is, or they are rather, built for challenge content. Their entire kit screams challenge content, where people die, they benefit from it. Their NP shoots the water gun that decreases the singular enemy, but then it can also clear out the non-important fodder enemies. And then also just has a lot of buffs designed for killing certain kinds of targets. I'm actually gonna put them into cooking. I think that they're cooking with this one. It's just I need to look at the recipe again.
People die, like when they are killed.
True. I like what Takeru does. I'm a bad master for not using Takeru to their potential. Alright. Next. This is a character I just sometimes forget is in this game, even though I have him. And the lengths that I went to get this character, and the meme that it spawned. Fucking Ushi Gozen. This Ascension might be the best piece of, like, straight up the best piece of, like, female Raida art that exists, because it goes so fucking hard. I love it so much. It's so good. A bit higher than average attack and lower than average HP. I forget how good, like, there was a moment when we were going through id when I used fucking Ushi Gozen, and she just did like 1 billion damage unbuffed. And I know that that's just because it also gives like an advantage with Avengers, but it was like more than what my other Avengers were doing. And I was like, hold on, why is she, hold up. Anyway, yeah, she's a full-on quick beat stick. Fucks up demonic, fucks up, increases your own damage against servants with earth attribute, and then 30% crit up. Yeah, very mega niche check is what she's all about. 30% buster and quick up. On attack buff for 5 attacks for 3 turns. If you're using your quick card, give her more crit damage so that she can just scale. Again, this is an AoE, and she's an AoE unit who's built for challenge content, again, which is kind of interesting. And then 2,000% star absorb, because God knows Avengers need that help. They really do. Critical damage up for 1 turn by 50%, because she needed more of that. NP damage for 1 turn by 30%, and NP gauge by 50%. And then she is an AoE quick, 40% chance to stun, reduces critical damage, more damage against Earth. She is weird. She does a lot of damage. I'm going to put her into solid. She does a lot of damage, and she can pop the fuck off sometimes, but she's kind of just like... She's a weird one to bring. I know that, like, Otto has done a lot of shit with... Doesn't Otto have her 120? Didn't Otto, like, go super hard for her, and then uses her for a lot of shit? Or am I misremembering that? Isn't that 200% anti-Earth? Is that what I said? It can be 200%. Oh, it's the 150 and then plus the... Yeah. Which isn't... That's pretty impressive against some, like, certain servants. Which, again, challenge content, AoE NP. Which is curious, to say the least. Alright. I'm just going to put her into solid. I think that she is strong. I like what she do. Alright. Goatman, do you want the NP farming and damage links, or does that... I don't give a shit. Quite frankly, I don't give a shit. I don't need to look at spreadsheets. This is all based on opinion. Alright. My wife. My wife. She picked for me, chat. She picked to be my wife. I didn't. The goat woman, it is. Once again, shout out to the person who drew the amazing UE art for the art contest. NP9? No, it was NP16. Yeah, I kind of very much like Yui. Yui's kit, I still am going to say, being somebody who brings her to a lot of things, because I have a lot of reasons to... I have her multiple NP5s. She's one of the most versatile and solid supports in the game. Like, the shit that she can pull off, just having her as a backline support is amazing. Okay, for all of you who were here, watching me go through id, I always have her in the backline. Except for, like, certain content. How many times was it where she came in, and then she was just, like, after a unit died, she came in and she was able to hard provide and buff a unit to be able to finish the fucking fight out. Like, super easily. And if it's going to be, well, you could just bring Castoria, it's like, you know what? Fuck off. I know. I could bring Castoria if I wanted to, but I'm happy I have more options. More unique and diverse options. Yeah. Her Guts, 3000 HP with a health regen and debuff immunity is amazing for her. It helps keep her in the fight. This skill is amazing. It's just party-wide 20%, NP damage up, star gen, and then decrease attack for the enemy by 20%. Phenomenal. And then make sure that whoever you're going to use your NP on is going to be able to at least get one of your buffs and gain some NP and crit damage for it. It's great. Or rather, no, she gets the NP, they get the extra crit damage. Followed by her NP, which gives her even, the person who she gave that to, even more crit damage. And if you use it with certain servants, like the one who we're going to be talking about next, then they just become gods for 3 turns. Yui is the real shit. Girl is the entire drink. I love her. She's amazing. This is going to be another one that when she comes to NA, I'm going to have to get her. I love her so much. She is my beautiful wife. Like, I have Tammy, I have Ushi, I have Bargy. None of them. As much as I love them, Yui is the only one who came to me with open arms and was just like, this is the real shit. So, you know, soft spot for Yui. Not only is she a great character to use, she's a great character for me. So, full bias. There she go. Yeah, the other... Yeah, let's talk about the other 4-star from this event. Fucking... Dude. I love... One of my favorite things that we see with a couple of different welfares this year is guy standing, followed by epic shot. Again... because you guys got to watch it like earlier this week going through id, I just, in a Hail Mary fight, somebody said this is the hardest fight in id, and I was just like, I bet if it's the hardest fight in id, you know who's going to be coming with me? We're going to bring Iori just to see what happens. I didn't know what the gimmick was. I didn't know what fucking anything that was happening was. I was just like, sure, whatever, let's do this. I'm here.
Head empty, solid full.
True. So I was like, alright, sure. And Iori almost beat the entire thing single-handedly. That entire fight against that boss. The hardest boss in all of id, according to my chat room. Dude was just like, alright, we got this. And I would have gotten away with it too, if he didn't have a guts that rezzed him with full health at the end. Shout out to the command seal change. It makes that shit just, yeah. So, he has the absorb, he has the crit damage for 30%, makes 10 stars. He's too stupid to fall in love or go to bed. Never forget that. And then what is this? Terror? Yeah. He's too stupid to be afraid, to go to sleep, to fall in love. First time, did I miss anything important? Nope. Welcome. Yeah, great. Crimson Codex, 30% battery is nice. 20% attack up is good. 20-star Star Bomb is good. And then the burn is okay. It doesn't really matter as much. And then he has his rainbow buff, 20% all around, a defense up, and then 2 attack, 3 turn evade, 6 turn cooldown. Good shit. And then his NP is a single target buster that has ignore evade. It increases his shit even further. And then makes stars. Iori is also the real shit. Dude is insane. Like, if we're just gonna like look at it solely from a gameplay perspective, he may as well be the 5-star of the event. Like, the way how they like had him built, dude is just like, alright, I'm him. I am him. I've always been him. I was born on the Himalayas. Literally built different. Dude is so good. By the way, there is no particular order in each of these individual columns. Or rows, rather. They're just kind of there. Just assume that if they're in that, they're all equal amongst each other, unless I make a comment about it. Alright. Yeah, Iori, fantastic. I want the artist who did these 3 to do more. And by that, I mean give us Dorothea in FGO, please, because Dorothea's design is too good to not be in FGO. Next. Andromeda. Andromeda? Do we ever decide on which one it is? Is it Andromeda or Andromeda? Anyway. She is cool. I like her design. I like Lack Sensei's art style. Dude always cooks. I love whatever the fuck is going on with this, and her final Ascension is amazing.
Andromeda.
Alright, well, Tammy says it's Andromeda, so it's Andromeda. She's got thighs for fucking days. She's a cutie. Quick, arts, buster. I believe she's AoE quick, yep. She, if I'm remembering right, is useful, but kind of weird. So yeah, her first skill is Star Bomb, make more stars, damage cut, and then a 30% battery, 6-turn cooldown. She got the 3-turn taunt, a guts, 1 time 3 turns, and then a buff on defense buff for 3 turns that whenever you are attacked, you charge... Wait, what? Grants self on defense buff for 3 turns. When taking attack, charges own NP gauge by 5% or up to 10%. Increases on critical damage by 10% for 3 turns. Okay. So every time she's hit, she just gets her NP. Got it. And then 30%, 30%, 30% for this. This skill I feel like is going to get buffed in the future because it's kind of bad on her. Because as I kind of wish that they would lean more into like the defensive aspect of her. But, you know, skillful swimmer, charges the NP gauge by 5% when on a waterside battlefield. Shout out to Nito Chris synergy. On Guts activation, increases own attack by 10% for 3 turns. Pretty cool. And then the riding A is really helpful for her. And then AoE, 6-hit quick NP. It gives her a defense up, which is really nice, and then reduces defense for enemies, which is also really nice. I think she's just kind of aight. She's interesting, and I like that she's experimental. If nothing else, what you're going to see throughout this list is that 2024 has been a very experimental year. It's been a super experimental year for FGO, and I like that. I appreciate that they're trying new things and seeing what works and doesn't work, right? I mean, you can only print so many characters that essentially do the same thing. It's nice to see them branch out and do things. The thing is with Andromeda, Andrew, is that she doesn't do... Her thing is so kind of super niche that you don't really have a reason to bring her along. She feels like a servant that tries to do both damage and tank, but it doesn't do either good enough, pretty much. Which, again, I like the idea. I like where the concept is. I just feel like it's not done correctly. But, you know, there's time for buffs in the future, so we're safe to see it. Has he talked about the Sword Hobo yet? Yes. And is the passive a unique thing to her? I don't know. Maybe. I'm gonna say maybe. I feel like if she had Constantine's NP, she'd be amazing. I like what they're doing, which is that she's a character who's meant to get hit. That way that she can quickly build her NP and then fire it off over and over again. So she works as like a way, like, I can see certain challenge content that you'd bring her to, where she can clear out shitties for you and take hits while your main DPS actually like takes care of things. But that eats a slot, and it's kind of hard to justify bringing it. But, you know, maybe there'll be something in the future for it. I think that something that you're going to realize, Twitch viewers as well as YouTube viewers, is that this is not at all going to be based on how well can this character loop. Because I, for one, believe that any character, if they're AoE and they can't loop, being dog shit is something made by people who, you know. I've been using the term mouth breathers a lot. It's one of my favorite insults for people. I think that if you truly believe that a character is only valuable if they're able to loop, then you exclusively breathe from your mouth and don't brush your teeth. That's the impression I get from you. If your first thought out of seeing a servant whose AoE is, but could they loop though? That I assume that that's what you sound like. I genuinely assume that that is how you sound. I apologize if that is what you actually sound like, and you don't do that. Maybe go see a doctor about your deviated septum. Anyway, she's cool. Next. Take a look at a servant who I also have, but I don't really use her. It's mostly because I don't have her skills level, but I like her. I mean, okay, the problem with printing characters that are made exclusively for looping is that you either need to hard power creep all of them so that some become irrelevant, and then you just have essentially a dead servant on your roster that you're never going to use, or you know, dude, I have one of those. Stop calling me out. I'm sorry. Yeah, no, you get what I mean. I lost my train of thought there. More or less, just, you know, making it so that you have to keep one-upping the servants that you're making over and over so that they become irrelevant and then never touching them again, it is just bad game design. And Fate is guilty of doing that with certain characters for sure. But, you know, I'd rather them do unique things as opposed to just trying to print Ibuki again. Anyway, Homie's Altar. Good design. I like the coat. I like the goth almost maid-esque thing. And I love this. This is an old design, but, you know, they kind of fucking hit this shit. Okay, my dyslexia kicked in and I read your comment incorrectly. And I'm just going to tell you what I thought. I thought that said, "What's up, my homies?" But it said like how Toby Fox says English words in Japanese. I like to imagine that she, for a skill line, will just be speaking in her normal, like, Japanese voices, and then she'll just say something in perfect jarring English like how Toby Fox does. Toho Project. Anyway. She got a 30% battery. Charges on NP gauge when taking an attack, so she has a similar thing to Andromeda. Grants self on buff, on defense buff for 5 times 3 turns. So yeah, she just... Getting hit is good for her. Which is good, because Avengers like to get hit. Inflict curse for 3 turns to all enemies. Increase own damage against enemies with curse for 3 turns. Increases own art performance for 3 turns by 30%. 5,000 curse damage is not anything to sneeze at. That's a lot of fucking damage. And you can do some goofy shit with that if you know how to play your cards right. And then I like this. It lets you just do big fucking damage. And then she has the Marie skill. 3 attacks, 3 turns of invincible, Jesus. Party-wide guts, 1 time, 3 turns. And then party recovery up, just heals them all for 3,000 HP. And she has an AoE, arts, NP. Inflicts curses for 5 times, or for 5 turns. Evil curse for 5 turns. Increased damp, which, yeah. AoE damage, reduce NP gauge, 60% chance to instant kill. Again, this character came out, and people were like, well, can she loop? And I believe the answer to that is yes, she can loop. However, really, no, that is not Goei synergy. It is, but it isn't. Goei's health is going to drop like a fucking rock if you bring her to support. Again, she's like another like challenge content support character because all of the shit that she does is amazing for support. And then she can just like, I don't know. You need her for a very specific type of like challenge quest, but it's kind of fun. It's kind of fun how you can use her. However, I think solid is fine. She's either solid or just aight. I feel like she has more practicality than Andromeda, but I don't know. Chiyome can work with her, yes. Chiyome actually probably works really well with her now that I'm thinking about it. There's some goofy ass shit with that. I'll put her into solid. Alright. Hasan of the Shining Star. Our first Hasan in like 7 years. This fucking dude. Great art. The guy who drew this, fantastic shit. I love this. I love this art so much. I would argue that this is his best one. It just... I love the Hasan look. And then he's Assassin's Creed. Yeah, I love that. That's great. That's fantastic. He looks like he would be... Serenity's, like, older protective brother or some shit. It's great. Okay, so let's get into this. This guy, I'm just gonna do this right now, chat. I'm just gonna put him here. I think that he is undoubtedly the worst character that was released this year, and we're gonna talk about why. Quick, Arts Buster. Pretty solid, pretty cool. 6-hit quick is pretty good. His skills. Increases quick and his arts up by 30%, sorry. And then if you're on a darkness battlefield, which is just pretty much anything where the sun is obscured, if I'm remembering correctly, then own attack up by 20%. Evade 2 attacks 3 turns, pretty good. Self-buff on attack. Increases his own critical damage by 10% for 3 turns when attacking with his quick card. So he can just increase his own quick damage exponentially because he has 3 of them. And he can make decent amounts of stars with those too. And then, yeah, just increase star generate as well. Good. More crit damage. 50% for 3 turns. Grants self-buff on attack for 3 turns. Charges on NP gauge by 10% when attacking with the quick cards. Increases own NP generation rate for 3 turns by 30%, so he can get his NP relatively quickly. Presence Concealment A to make more stars, and then Oblivion Correction because he's a pseudo Avenger, 8%. Arts NP. AoE. All that they had to do was make him single target. It being an AoE NP, it being an arts NP is already kind of weird for him because it doesn't fit in with the rest of what his kit is trying to do. But it being AoE as well is just like, bruh. It kind of fucks up the whole flow of because I like what he has going on. With his skill set, it's I can ramp up my crit damage, so my really kind of shitty attack is going to get really ramped up with my shit, and then it's like, no, you're an AoE arts unit who hurts himself whenever he uses his NP, and his shit wants you to use his NP. And so you're just like, huh? Bonus against man is okay, and then the 20% quick and arts up for 1 turn as well. It's okay. it's like, I understand what they're trying to do with him, and it's really fun and really cool, except they fumbled it really bad. He is not great. Yeah, I think he's fine. He's fine right here. Alright. Dambe's. Yoker. Twink. Papa. Angie. Whoa, Stunlock be upon ye. Pretty much. Quick Arts Buster. 30% increase to his Buster and Quick, and then he has a 2 attack, 3 turn invincibility, 6 turn cooldown. Increase zone attack by 30%. Grants self debuff on attack buff for 3 turns, which inflicts burn whenever he hits somebody. They get burned. Can't be poisoned for 3 turns, and then a 3 times 3 turns debuff immunity, which is crazy. 50% battery, 50% crit damage, 1000% star absorb. Fantastic. It seems pretty simple, right? It's just a lot of attack and survivability into his kit, and you're like, okay, interesting. How does that really work for him? Well, his NP ignores invincibility, guaranteed stuns the enemy, and then scales based on how burnt the motherfuckers are. I have had moments with this guy where I have been able... do you guys remember when I fought the CEO of Water? Or was it the CEO of Fire? It doesn't matter. One of those two motherfuckers, I was kicking the shit out of them with Dante's, and just every single turn, stunned. He could NP multiple turns in a row because of his own natural NP gain, combined with like some of the, like just a couple of supports, over and over again. He can loop his NP repeatedly. Motherfucker is able to just continually stun lock somebody for turns at a time. He's insane. It's such an insane unit. So I'm pretty sure I started the taking a look at stuff with Shining Star and Marie Alter, and I was pretty sure I gave him like an A+ instead of an EX. And I was like, I think I give him an A+. Like, I need to play test him more. I've play tested him more now. He's the real shit. Dude is crazy. I love using him. I genuinely love using him. The only thing I have bad to say about him is that the mats that he requires are all expensive as fuck because he's a bougie bitch. That's it. Alright, next up. Controversial one for some people. Alco. Alco is a very interesting unit. I like her design a lot. I still need to read Mahoyo. There is a debate in the community where there's only two sides. And that's people who like Alco and people who think that Alco is overrated and is a terrible unit. I tend to lean onto the former side. I think that Alco is amazing. I bring her to a lot of stuff. I use her for a lot of stuff. She's insanely versatile. She does so much for a team. We'll get into this. I feel like I can't really go to break her down too terribly detailed because we're going to be here for a while. Essentially, you can choose how you want to play Alco with her kit. You can either have her be a support or a DPS. If you're going to have her be a support, you just don't use her NP. Don't really need to. Dad likes her because she's a guitar player, so I will roll for her in 2006. Got it. She has practicality in every party. Makes 20 stars on a two-turn kill. She makes 20 stars on a 2-turn cooldown, which is crazy. That alone is an amazing skill. And then also she just, Magic Bullet, which just straight buff to all of her shit. she gets her own wait, is this her own NP? I'm trying to charges party's NP for 20%. Star gen 10 stars a turn, 7 turn cooldown. Easy, great, fantastic. Third skill, targetable, 30%, art, quick, buster, crit. Heal for 2,000. Sorry, heal per turn for 2,000. 7 turn cooldown. And also protagonist correction, which is that if you have something that would fuck you up on your NP, it doesn't fuck you up. So like take Jean's NP, where if she was to get stunned, she won't get stunned, for instance, which is amazing. That alone, and then you don't even need. Then all that her NP does is just switches her class essentially. At this stage, yeah, it prevents demerits except for killing yourself. She can't stop that. Super Alco gets more of the magic bullets. They do more. Gives her an invincibility. Oh, but I forgot to mention that her invincibility becomes solemn defense, so she can just always have protection. It's great. Art's up 30% as well. Amazing skill. 100% battery. Make 40 stars, 7 turn cooldown. Pretty good. And then this drains her NP by 100%. Increases own buster performance for 5 turns. Increases own extra performance for 5 turns. Charges party's NP gauge except for self by 50%. Reduces the party's skill cooldown by 2 except for self. 5,000 heal, 8 turn cooldown. Crazy again. Oh, by the way, I also neglected to mention, in this form, her buster and extra attack is AoE, which is such a fun idea, and I'm so glad that they did it. I'm looking forward to seeing who else they do this same shit for, because it's such a cool idea. There's so much synergy that you can build on with that. Because, correct me if I'm wrong, does the Koyan Light buff affect every character that she hits, so she can just, like, supercharge her NP, or does it not work that way? There's a couple of interactions that do work like that, though. Somebody's gonna need to tell me if I'm wrong on that shit. Because it should be that, like, if you use Koyan Light's second skill on her, and then she hits you with a buster card, but it's AoE, and say there's, I don't know, 6 people on the field because we do that shit now, you should be able to get 60% NP just by doing that. Meaning that with a buster chain, you should be able to get 120% NP, and then with your extra attack as well, you get the actual bonuses from that. Also AoE. Pretty good. I'm not sure if that's how that works. I could be wrong. Her passes are all crazy good, too. I'm not going to go into it all the way with it. And then, yeah, this is just... oh, yeah, permanent increase by 50% to both her buster and attack when she uses this, because she needed it. And then her damage forms NP is ignores invincibility, ignores defense, deals damage based on how many magic bullets you have up to 10, removes 10 of them, and then fires a massive laser and does a fuck ton of damage. Alco is such a fun and unique character, and I bring her to so much shit. She's great. I adore her. Next, Alice. I have used Alice less. Oh, I did skip Cagliostro. Cagliostro isn't on this list. Why is he not on this list? I did skip... Is he on this list? He's not on this list. Damn. We'll cover him after this. If you want to know how I feel about Cagliostro, Cagliostro is an ite as well. He's okay. I feel like he's just fine. His kit is super fucking weird. Alright, Alice is cool. It's an AoE quick caster, which is a rarity. Quick arts buster. 20% arts and quick. NP by 50%. Gain rate by 30%. Pretty good. 6-turn cooldown. Increases own attack and defense for 3 turns by 30%. Goes even further if she's on darkness or in a forest. Jesus Christ, a forest. Yeah, it's pretty cool. Pretty cool skill. It's not as practical. Darkness is pretty common though. And then Robin, 2-turn cooldown. She can. It's limited. How many of these does she have? Like 13 or some shit? It's a substitution, so she gets hit by this shit. It lasts the full 2 turns. If anti-purge defense, they cannot be affected by buff removal. So yeah, she just has this. It can't be removed. It removes one of her Robin counters. Just, you know. One hit, I don't take damage, guaranteed. And you can't get rid of it. It's just there. And then there's this. Instant kill gut status 5 times. This gives her Robin counter. If she were to die from an instant kill, she's resurrected. Up to 5 times. Which, I don't know what challenge quest that shit's for, but it's cool. I like it. And then her NP is AoE, quick, ignore evade. Increase own damage against humans by 30% for 1 turn. Deals damage to all enemies, and then gives them terror. And reduces their critical attack chance. I think Alice is just kind of solid. She's kind of fun. I like her. She's interesting. I find myself trying to, like, justify bringing her, though, if that makes sense. It's hard for me to justify being like, I'm going to bring Alice over another option. But I think that she's fun, and I like that she has a lot of unique shit in her kit. Alright, let's quickly just look at WID Man so I can explain why I don't like WID Man. Or I think WID Man is just kind of okay. Quick arts, buster. You have an arts NP, right? Am I remembering that right? Yes. NP gauge by 50%. NP damage by 30%. Confusion, which is just a prolonged, or a skill seal with a timer. And then NP damage up 30%. Alright. 7-turn cooldown. His guts that resurrects him with 10,000 HP. Grants self on guts activate buff for 1 time 5 turns. Charges own NP gauge by 30%. And then increases own NP generation rate by 30% for 5 turns. 10-turn cooldown. And then 30% art up. 30% crit damage up. Grants self debuff on attack buff for 3 turns. Inflict buff success rate down, which is kind of cool. That's an interesting one. And then his passive, increase on critical star generation of art cards by 30%, which is unique to him, which is kind of nice. And then increase on critical damage of arts cards by 10%. So he leans in heavy into the arts cards thing. He's got buff removal on his NP that lands first. Deals damage, reduces it. Deals extra damage against lawful enemies. See, when I say... So, okay. His attack, if I'm remembering right, is not great. It's just kind of okay. He's interesting. I feel like he does a decent amount. It's just he's kind of... He leans very hard into being an arts crit gimmick. And it's, again, I'm trying to think of a reason why you would bring him over an actual counter class that does something similar. Like, in what universe are you going to bring him over Saito Hajime? You know what I mean? And if we want to go for, like, an actual AoE versus AoE, I don't know. There's so many good AoE arts units. that are out there. I feel like just do what he's trying to do, but better. But, you know, Castoria synergy's there. I think he's just kind of aight. I'll put him in aight. Alright. Is Man... Okay, Man for some reason got pushed back here. Dude. Alright. Quick Arts Buster. Welfare Berserker. Increases zone quick and buster up by 20%. Grants lethal damage evasion 5 times 3 turns. This is such a cool skill. Essentially, if something were to kill him that's not like with an attack, it's very specifically with an attack, it won't kill him. So he can effectively tank 5 raw NPs without dying. But keep in mind, that doesn't mean that if he gets hit with something like dots or like a HP drain or anything like that, that shit can still kill him, but if he gets hit, he's fine. If it's just the raw hit he can live through. This is one of the coolest skills in the game.
Head empty.
This is one of my favorite skills ever, which is that it just multiplies whatever your current NP gauge is at. Don't forget sure hit cucks that effect. Well, it's an evade effect, so yeah, that makes sense. So the main selling point of this is the NP. So at max level, if you have a 50% NP starting CE, you just hit this, you get 50%. If you have 150%, you go to 300%. It just doubles whatever your current NP value is at, which is cool. If your HP is low enough, you can have up to 100% crit as well, which is cool. That's a really that's such a fun skill. I love that a lot. And then this one is I would argue his worst skill, but still kind of okay. It's you hit this, next turn, all of his cards will be of the card type that you selected, and it's buffed by 30%. It's not a 300% battery, it's a 150% battery. Man is too stupid to be scared, confused, or have his skill sealed. And also presence concealment A, because he's just kind of there. And then his NP ignores invincibility, ignores damage cut, which is, they had to change certain advanced quests because he could just solo them with what he did. Well, not okay. He couldn't solo them because of, you know, reasons. But he just ruins the whole gimmick because he just gets through damage cut so easily. They had to change it to something else. And then deals a lot of damage to them. If they have defense up, he does even more damage, and then he dies. Also, he increases his own attack when he does that. He is such a fun unit to use. He opens up so much, like, so many possibilities.
Berserk is one default VN protagonist with no madness enhancement and a punch that Thanos snaps himself.
Yeah. He is really fun. He opens up such a huge amount of possibilities for so many different kinds of content. He is pretty much just Arash as a Zerker. He just shows up, blows up a dude, and then leaves. What was the quest that we were doing yesterday where I was just like, alright, let me see if this works. I just need to see if it was against something in Ordeal Call 3 where a character had like a huge amount of defense, and I just like defense and damage like cut, I just bring him, and he was able to take down an entire bar of that unit, of a boss fight unit, and then be gone, and then the rest of the fight was easy. Like, the amount of shit that he can do makes me be like, Jesus Christ. Dude's crazy. Alright, next. His head is so empty he transcended past the fourth wall and broke the game. True. Azumi no Isora. I like these two a lot. I wish I had gotten them, but, you know, as is fate. Quick Arts Buster. They have a Quick up by 20%, Buster up 20%, NP rate up by 20%, and then an Evade. Oh, wait, no, wait. I'm wrong. That's party-wide, 20-20-20. And then Evade for 2 attacks, 3 turns. Pretty good. It's a nice little supporting skill. Gate of Watatsumi is a 30% charge for themselves. Party charge by 20%. Helena in tears. Max HP up by 3,000 for the party. Good support. And then Tide Jewel flowing and ebbing. Party's NP damage by 20%. Debuff on attack. So, okay, if they're hitting you with a quick card, reduces defense by 10%. If they hit you with a buster card, increases their own critical damage by 10%. And then give the water side battlefield for 3 turns. This aspect of this, how many characters... Okay, so first of all, this is a support kit. These guys are a support. They are 100% a support unit. They're like a very strange party-wide support, but them being able to do this enables a lot of units that we're going to cover here in a little bit. And just makes them crazy. Makes them amazing. Like, I'm pretty sure the next unit who we're going to be covering, this being an option makes that unit so much better. Alright. Own buff removal resist by 10%. Yeah, they have a lot of cool passives. And if they're on the water side field, get 5 stars, get 5% NP, crit up. Nah, solid. And then their NP is AoE, I'm pretty sure. AoE quick. Removes all enemies' defensive buffs. Deals damage to chaotic aligned. Increases own NP generation if they are on a water side battlefield. Is this the same thing, just different name? Yep. And then increases their own stats. Yeah, these two are just like... These two were built to support the next unit who we're going to talk about. I appreciate that they're still making... I'm actually going to put them into cooking. I like their design a lot. Do I think it's the best thing in the world? No. Do I like what they're doing with it? Absolutely. And it's just a shame because I feel like these two kind of got forgotten as soon as their like event was over. I saw nobody talking about them. I get the impression that they're very, very strong, but because they're not Castoria and they're not like a caster support, people are kind of like, eh. But they seem really strong. Like, the buff removal is really, really powerful. Like, the defensive buff removal. And, okay, their entire kit, this is a unit that was made to support... my girl. Summer Airish. Beast Airish. I made the comment yesterday that beasts are probably my favorite class in the entire game, just because I love the idea behind having Swiss Army Knight servant or Swiss Army knife servants. Quick Arts Buster. Lots of hits on all of them. It's really good. Increases the party's attack. 20% damage by 20%, NP by 20%. Instant kill resistance by 100%. And then the poison is negligible, genuinely. A 6-turn cooldown. I'm talking too much. It's kind of fucking up my throat. Second skill. Make 20 stars. Increase star absorption. Crit damage for 100% for 1 turn. And then 50% battery. 70% NP charge for herself and her kit, by the way. 7 turn cooldown. And then invincibility, 2 attacks, 3 turns. Self Guts. Status 1 time 3 turns. Recovers own HP by 3,000. Buffs by... removes own debuffs. By, increase own buff. Remove resist by 1 time 3 turns. Reduces own skill cooldowns by 2. So all of these, 5 turn cooldown, 5 turn cooldown, 4 turn cooldown. Reason? Phony. And then anti-magecraft, just this one alone is so good. Just debuff immunity 3 times. Just straight up 3 times debuff immunity. Self-attack buff increases own NP gauge by 5% when normal attacking, which is amazing for her. Goddess Essence, whatever, Authority of the Beast, so she just does more damage to servants, is fantastic. Independent Manifestation E- is whatever. I mean, that's really mostly for this. She can't be stopped. She's literally unstoppable. And then her affection meter grants a myriad of amazing effects as you level it up. It's really good. I'm not going to get into it all right now. It's just, it's just all good. It's all good. And then her NP is AoE. It's AoE, it's arts. She can loop if you're curious about that. If you're at affection level 4 or higher, increase on instant kill by 100%. If on affection level 7% or higher, ignore defense, ignore invincibility. If it's 10 or higher, get 50 stars as well. And then deals damage to all enemies. Increases the master affection points. And increases with overcharge. And there is a lot of ways that you can get these. One of these, notably, Waterside Battlefield plus 10 is just an immediate plus 1 up. So again, bringing Azumi no Isora with her to help support all of the shit that she already does, just an instant. It's great. It's fantastic. Beast Erish is so unbelievably real shit. I adore her. Alright. I've already kind of talked about these ones recently. So I don't feel as much of a need to go back and like hard look at them. I'm just gonna base all of this kind of off of what I remember. Seal, I think, is kind of just cooking. I like what they're doing with Seal. Seal's interesting. Seal seems very strong. I do still need to play test with her a lot more before I have any final things to say about her. Her kit is that she has hard defense, like incredibly hard defense, and can't really be cracked. And she does a lot of damage. Yeah, she's a boss. She's a challenge quest unit, which I really like. I said I wasn't going to do this, but whatever. Own NP gauge 10% for 3 turns, or for 5 turns. HP every turn by 1500. Debuff resist for 5 turns by 50%. Buff removal resist for 5 turns by 100%. And then arts up by 30%. Buster up by 30%. Self debuff on attack for 5 turns. When attacking with an arts card, inflict healing received down by 20% for 3 turns to one enemy. 30% chance to reduce their NP gauge by 1. Removes their gut status. Grants self another one with the Buster, which is that critical damage up when activated if own HP is 50% or higher, and if it's lower, it's even more crit damage. Wait, what? Oh yeah, no. It's just if she just does more crit damage the healthier she is, essentially. And then this card shuffles all cards so that all the cards become her cards. So that she can do some shit. Defense up by 100%, heal 50% battery, and then it's a single target? Yeah, single target, ignore evade, ignore defense, instant death, deal a fuck ton of damage. She's cool. You need a plug suit space airish for the water side gimmick to work with. Really? Is that how that works? That's stupid. Anyway, I'm going to put her there. I think they're kind of cooking with her. I like her a lot. I'm interested to see what they do with her. I'm going to put BB in cooking as well. BB's another one. She is an all-around, or she's like an art support, a Moon Cancer art support that leans towards helping out living humans. 20% arts up, 20% NP, 20% NP damage, sorry, 30% NP damage for living humans, 30% NP rate up for living humans, and Moon Cancers as well. Second skill, remove all enemy buffs. Just on the click of a button, just gets rid of all of them. That's actually, I forgot about that, and how insane that is. Reduces their attack for 1 turn by 100%. Arts resist 20% down. Inflict non-preservation target debuff for 3 turns. Increases the critical star generation rate of Moon Cancer living allies. And then critical damage as well by 100% and then 30%. 100% star rate, 30% crit damage, 6 turn cooldown. Golden Capital on the Moon. Cooldowns. Reduces own cooldowns by 1. Charges own NP gauge by 50%. And then changes her Noble Phantasm from either the offensive one, which it starts with, or it becomes a support one. And then critical resist. Star Absorb up. Own damage against evil. Or has anti-good damage mod. Defense for the same. Her NP is AoE Arts. If you're going to do damage, bonus damage against Sky and Star. AoE damage. Arts down after. Deals extra damage to the non-preservation target status characters. Which is non-living humans, non-Moon Cancer. Then her support one, invincibility for the turn, debuff immunity for 1 turn, party's NP damage up by up to 50%, and then charges their NP gauge if they're a preservation target. I like her. I think she's cool. I'm curious. I need to use her more before I pass any judgment. I'm just gonna put her there. I'm gonna actually just not look at the 4 stars because I'll look at. Okay, there's 2 of them I want to look at. I'm gonna put fucking Dabi into cooking because Dabi is like a strict upgrade to Kage-Kyo. Dabi essentially, having now compared them, it is essentially just Kage-Kyo except not NP5, which is her only drawback. But everything else she does better. Which is amazing. You really love to see it. Zhu Fu, I remember being solid. I don't really remember your kit. It was kind of... I remember your kit was kind of... Kage... Am I saying Kage-Kyo? Yeah, I mean Kage-Tora. Sorry. Battery, more battery, so you can fire your NP off a lot, instant kill memes, and then it's a Buster NP, single target, instant death. If you succeed, you get buffs. Yeah, she's okay. I like, Is she more IT? Is she more IT? Nah, I'll put her into solid. No. She's somewhere in this range. It's kind of cool to have a character who can just fire off a Buster single target NP pretty frequently, but it's also kind of like... I'll put her into solid, that's fine. I remember I really don't care for Summer Summer Tenochtitlan. I remember looking at what she did and being like, I'm not too thoroughly impressed with her design, for one. I like this. I like the bunny girl thing. It's pretty good. But like, her kit is so weird and not in a good way. It's okay. NP gauge, party's recovery up, party's attack up, kind of supporty, and then increase the enemy's attack up by 10%. Okay. 3-turn taunt is really good. It's good the more units have that. She's a moon cancer as well. Self-defense buff so that she just has poor defense, so she's a little bit tankier with it, but I don't think she has... Okay, there's her 1-turn evade. Quick up, bust her up 3 turns by 30%. Here's the evade. And then the bunny synergy. I like that they're doing fun different things with this kind of stuff. I don't know if she's the character that we want it to be for. And then she has... If this was a support NP... If they just made her go full support and this was a support NP, I would be very much behind her. But because they're trying to make her a DPS, I'm like... it just doesn't work in my mind. I would have to use her a little bit more, but it just does not work in my mind. Alright, and then our last one, MHX Alter. MHXX Alter. By the way, best summer skin this year right here. Hands down. Peak. This shit's peak. Yeah, you get your invincibility. 2 times 3 turns. Own attack up for 3 turns by 20%. Make 15 stars, and then make 15 stars every turn. 7-turn cooldown. Buster up 30%. Buster absorb 500%. Crit damage 30%. 6-turn cooldown. Pretty good. Reduce all enemies' NP gauge by 1. Charge his own NP gauge by 10% based on the number of enemies that are there. Amount of NP charge is multiplied by the number of enemies. So if you have 6, you can get 60% NP charge, if I'm thinking about that correctly. And then charges her own NP gauge again by 20%. Increases own NP generation rate for 3 turns. It's a really weird skill, considering that she is a Buster Beatstick servant with 3 Buster cards. Increases own damage against lawful alignment enemies by 30%. Increases own damage against good enemies. Ruler class enemies, even more damage. Charges on NP gauge by 20%. Increases on NP damage for 1 turn. She is the she is the epitome of Unga and Boonga. She go in, she Unga, and then she Boonga. That's what she do. That's how she trying to be. Yeah, I mean, these two kind of just do the same thing, essentially. I think that's there. Alright, chat, is there anything that's glaringly wrong with this? And we will continue to add and kind of shuffle these around as time goes on. But this is where I'm at right now. This is what I think of the characters that have been released so far this year. I need somebody to explain to me the artificial, like, inflation of Tenochtitlan. Like, maybe I just need to play Lost Belt 7. I need to read through Lost Belt 7. And maybe I'll understand the appeal. But I'm just like, eh. There is another. I know that there's another. I've not looked at them, so we're not going to. The dude doesn't have official art yet. I know about it. I'm aware of it. Until it's a summonable servant, until it's in your Chaldea, We're not looking at it. Hence why we didn't look at any of the Olgas. You dig? As soon as those are in, we'll do a proper take a look at them. But until then, we're not doing that shit. So I think this is fine. If I had to pick who my favorites are, you know what? Let's do that. That's kind of a fun thing to do. Who is my favorite servant this year? Iori's up. I mean, well, all the ones that are up here are favorites of mine, for sure. Who is my favorite? You know, chat, I would say it was Yui. I would say that it was Yui. And Yui is definitely, like... It's a fucking tie. It's between these two. These two in my heart are tied for my favorite servant this year. Because I love the versatility that Yui brings at the low cost of being a 4-star and being really, really fun to use as well, being an amazing backliner, and then also, you know, it's Yui and she loves me. And then there's Erish, who everything I just said about Yui, you can add to Erish as well. They apply those same two things, and so yeah, I think that together they're very much just like my favorites. They are my babies. Please send me all of your Klidge x Yui art at Sventarian on Twitter. If you have any of Erish as well, send it there as well. You know where to find me. Anyway, hi guys. Hi YouTube. How's it going? Let me know how wrong I was with this over here or at patreon.com/Klidge, where you can support me directly, get early access to videos and things, and even the podcast. Go listen to the podcast too. Nostalgia Pile Podcast. Watch it, listen to us talk about anime. Give us a rating on Spotify. Do all the fun stuff there. Otherwise, do all the YouTube stuff. Like, comment, subscribe, leave a comment, do a thing. Tell me how wrong I am because I didn't put Shining Star into cooking. Or why Andromeda is an actual EX tier unit, or why fucking Ushigozen should be higher. I don't know. Y'all tell me. Tell me why Kage Tora is better than Dobrynia. I'm sure that somebody has that argument prepped. Why Kage Tora is better than Dobrynia. I want to see it. For now, though, thanks for hanging out, guys. I'll catch you all later. Peace out on YouTube. Goodbye. Bye-bye. As for all of you on stream as well, I'll be catching you all later. See you on Saturday. Hopefully you guys had a fantastic rest of your day as well. I hope to catch you all later. Peace out, fellas. A good night.
Change the world. My final message.